Good morning, and what a good morning it is as the Florida Gators are the national champions. So, if anybody's dozing off from a long night, I'll wake you up with a little Gator chomp. But no, welcome to the April 8th School Board of Manatee County regular meeting. I want to officially call this meeting to order. I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Felton for the district's vision and invocation.
The school district of Manatee County will be an exemplary, student-focused school system that develops lifelong learners to be globally competitive. And I would like to introduce Mother Marcia Tremmel of the Episcopal Diocese of Southwest Florida to give our invocation.
Y'all will stand for the invocation, and then we'll do the pledge right after.
Thank you, Heather. Good morning, members of the board. Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, you are the giver of all good gifts, and we thank you today for all your blessings, for the successful outcomes of all our school events, and for all our staff members, both the teachers and support members. Lord, we ask that you bless them abundantly, and we continue to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength. Be with us in our deliberations. Help us to be wise in the decisions that we make for the good of all who have placed their trust and confidence in our leadership. Lord, give us insight to lead with integrity, that our decisions may reflect what is right and good. Help us to make decisions that are for the good of all. Dear Lord, grant us the humility to always seek your will in all that we do and say. All glory be to you, loving God, now and always, through Jesus Christ, our Savior, and the Holy Spirit, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, moves us to the item number 5, approval of the agenda. The chair has found good cause to amend the agenda to include all items listed under the agenda amendments on the April 8, 2025 agenda, updated on April 4, 2025, and posted to the district website, manateeschools.net.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the agenda. I do not have iLegislate open, so let's go ahead and vote. Sorry?
I don't either.
All those in favor of approval of the agenda, just raise your hand and say aye.
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 No opposed. Passes 5-0. All right, moving on to item number 6, approval of the minutes. Superintendent Weissong.
Good morning, Chair Choate and board members. I recommend approval of the minutes from the school board meeting held on February 25th, 2025, the February 28th, 2025 school board workshop, and the March 11th, 2025 school board meeting.
So moved.
Ooh, second. Sorry, Heather.
No problem.
Wow, these mics are much better.
Yes, I can definitely hear everything now. We had a second. Are you in the Granicus yet or no?
I am now. Yep.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the minutes. Passes 5-0. All right, item number 7, student celebrations, recognitions. Mr. Barber, come on down.
Thank you. I'm bringing some help with me.
Perfect.
Oh, Lord.
Some good size help.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Board Chair, board members, and Superintendent Weissong. Kevin Chapman's coming up too. I'll start off by saying that I'm a proud graduate of Florida State University. So I watched that game with a little bit of a different perspective, but I'll have to say one thing. I think we all learned one thing. It's not how you play during the first half. It's not even how you play during the vast majority of the second half. It's how you finish.
Absolutely.
And one thing about this Gators team, and they deserve to win the national championship, one characteristic that they showed throughout the tournament, really throughout the season, is resiliency. And that leads us to our first, recognition this morning.
Good segue.
And our to tell us about this recognition is Omar Edwards, Associate Director of Strategic Planning Initiatives.
All right. Mr. Chair, Dr. Whitesong, board members, I am honored to bring before you today what we have is Resilience Week. You saw what happened last night. Florida Gators got down by 12 points, but they were resilient. They stayed the course. And that's truly what Resiliency Week is. It's an opportunity for our students to stay the course. Resilience Week is the week prior to testing. So what happens when prior to testing is go time. So what you have before you it's the instructional strategy we call core response. So when I say what time is it, you say go time. What time is it?
Go time.
What time is it?
Go
Go
time.
time.
So the week prior to testing, we're asking our students, we're telling them that you've been prepared, you practiced, and you're ready and you're primed for success. A lot of times they can have all the information, but if they don't believe within, then what are they going to do? We need to give them that resiliency that they need inside, that even though they're down 12 points, so they get to a tough question, then they can buckle down and they can concentrate. So that leads us to Resiliency Week. Next slide.
I have to take this call.
We're very intentional this year. This is our week, April 7th through the 11th. We work with our executive directors and our leadership to really provide a week and an opportunity that we were intentional about the schools that we went in. The 7th, the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. In my 25-year career, these are some of the best speakers that I've ever heard in my life. You know, whether it was the Failure is the Option Conference by Coach Darrell Andrews, or the Cuban guy when I had an opportunity to see him at a adult ed conference many, many years ago. A lot of them we have great relationships with, and I've seen them on a number of occasions. So this is what's happening this week. We're intentional about the schools that we go in, and we're intentional about the people that we want before our students. And we got creative with the principals, and they came up with the schedule, where they're meeting with them at lunch, or they're pulling them out of elective classes, but we're intentional to be able to maintain the momentum without giving up that instructional time. So that's what's taking place this week. The goal is for us to finish strong. You know, we want to close out the school year. We had an opportunity through some various donors that allowed us to donate funds that we can utilize in this mechanism. We're able to go in, we're able to provide staff lunches or breakfast, things of that nature during that week, or they can utilize it for teacher appreciation. So this is an opportunity that we can go into our most neediest schools and provide this opportunity for them to be very successful. So my last slide, that leads us to, we want to finish the school year strong. We want to start working on some of our standards for next year once we get finished with testing. So we want to be able to finish strong. So when I say finish, you say strong. Finish.
Strong.
Finish.
Strong.
I hope I did. I know our kids will. And I turn it over to Kevin Chapman at this time.
Thanks. Thanks, Omar. I would just say this was Omar's idea, and every year, this is now the second year of this, and Omar goes out in the community and raises almost $50,000 to put this together. There's no tax dollars used for this. This is all from generous donors in the community who support our schools and our students, and Omar works with all those schools and speakers and gets all the staff lunches set up at all these schools. There'll be at our 24 Title I schools, there's a paid-for staff lunch for all the teachers and staff at all those schools, either during this week or during Teacher Appreciation Week, all thanks to Omar's efforts and to those donors out there who support this important initiative. So just thank you for the time today, and like Omar says, let's finish this school year very strong. So appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin and Omar. Our second recognition is a good news moment. And I want to share a good news video with you. But before I do that, I just want to really sort of pay tribute to the very talented professionals at Manatee Schools Television. I think you all know they just do a tremendous job, and they really provide a wide variety of functions. For example, they broadcast wholesome educational content to our community 7 days a week. They broadcast all board meetings and workshops, as well as groundbreakings and other events like that. They have really grown in the department of live streaming sporting events during the school year involving our district high schools. They also do arts performances and other related events. They run a good news channel that is shown on screens and monitors in schools and support sites throughout the district. And as you know, they produce really tremendous good news videos and content. I want to recognize the members of MSTV. Matt Messenger, he's the supervisor. Susan Gilbank, instructional and technical programming supervisor or a specialist. Scott Martin, the senior producer. Carl Shelton, live video production manager. Michaela Karstens, the video production specialist. And Nick Batchelder, the electronic technician. Again, they do an excellent job, and we're going to show you one of their videos as our good news moment for April 2025. And it's a situation where some of our students got in a bit of a pickle, so I think you'll enjoy it.
We got a USDA Farm to School grant to do edible school gardens, where we take the things we grow in the garden and we actually serve them in the lunch program. But more than that, we use the garden to do science lessons and math lessons. The students were able to pick cucumbers that they actually grew in their own garden to make pickles.
We picked them from the Bayshore Elementary School garden. So we produced them from the seeds, and now they're really big and they've been growing super good. First, you have to collect cucumbers and make a solution out of vinegar, sugar, and salt. And then you're supposed to heat it up and then mix it with the cucumbers and then put it in the fridge.
So to pickle something, you need to make a brine. Have you guys learned about solutions and mixtures?
By going into the garden, the students are able to learn math with multiplication, area, division, fractions, and even science. We use the kitchen as a hands-on learning lab, so kids can actually see fractions at work and solutions and all the things that they might learn about in math and science out of a book. They actually get to see it in person in the kitchen.
It's fun because all of our class gets to do something besides just working. Because we're still learning about like math and stuff, but we are still having fun with it. Like we're chopping foods and we're making foods for the whole entire school. We don't really have to be on the computer the whole entire time, and we actually get to move around and do more fun stuff.
They're very engaged in their learning. They're just excited to be out of their classroom for a change, and they get to actually dig in the soil and pick those cucumbers and those tomatoes, and they're able to go into their own garden and they're showing all of their friends, look at all these tomatoes that we grew. So it's just those opportunities that just extra inspire them in their education. And once you light that inspiration and excitement about getting educated, having an education, then that's just going to continue with them on through their years of school. You can see the light, the sparks go off, and that's my favorite part. It's an amazing thing to see.
So
And,
cute.
yeah, I just want to thank MSTV and especially our students for making our school district look good, so.
Thanks, Mike.
That was great.
That was awesome.
Got themselves in a pickle. All right. Moving on to public comments. I'm going to call your name, just coming up. If you've never public comment, screens above us tells the 3-minute countdown that you have. And since we've got some new public comments on here, just a reminder that board policy, we don't actually respond to the public comments here during the board meeting. So I don't want you waiting for a response and looking at us like, what are y'all doing? So first speaker, public comment, is Lori Diamant Abdullah, followed by Jacob Durance.
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
As you just stated, my name is Lori Diamond Abdullah, and thank you for hearing me today. I am speaking as a Manatee County resident, taxpayer, and a parent of 2 Manatee County students. I am deeply troubled by the decision not to distribute our community's half-cent sales tax revenue equitably across all public schools. When our community approved this tax, we did so with the expectation that every public student, whether a district school or charter school, would benefit from these funds. Families who send their children to charter schools pay the same half-cent sales tax as everyone else in Manatee County, but their kids aren't getting any of the benefits. How do you justify this? Over 20% of Manatee County students attend their charter schools, and their families are essentially paying for improvements they never see. As a taxpayer in Manatee County, I expect my tax dollars to benefit every child, no matter which public school they attend. Everyone pays the sales tax, but the funds are only being given to a chosen group. Now, the Florida State Statute Section 212055-6B clearly mandates that these funds be shared proportionately. Once again, with 20% of our students enrolled in charter schools, it is unacceptable that these schools are being left out of critical funding that directly impacts our children's education. As a parent, I see firsthand the difference that proper funding makes in the quality of education and resources available to our kids. Florida State Statute Section 1002.335. This one was really interesting. There's so much in this one. But it states it is the intent of legislature that charter school students be considered as important as other students in this state, and to the end, comparable funding levels from existing and future sources should be maintained for charter school students. I know you are very well aware that without passing the charter school's support, the sales tax may not have passed. And without the trust that this would be distributed fairly, this may not pass again in the future. I urge you to vote for a fair allocation of these funds to ensure that every child in Manatee County receives the support they deserve. Please reconsider the current funding strategy and do the right thing for our community and their future. One other thing I was thinking about
Thank you.
was thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jacob Durance, followed by Ed Viltz.
Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Superintendent, Council, and fellow stakeholders. My name is Jacob Durance. I am the principal of Palmetto Charter School, and as a fellow stakeholder, I'm here today to advocate on behalf of the Palmetto Charter School community and also respectfully request a fair and proportionate share of the half-cent sales tax for all charter school students in Manatee County. With over 20% of public students enrolled in charter schools, I find it concerning that our students are not receiving the benefit of the half-cent sales tax. When our community approved this tax, I believe the spirit of it was to include all public school students. An investment in education to benefit all students, as most of these students would likely reside in Manatee County and begin serving and contributing to our community. Our families contribute to the half-cent sales tax, but charter school students are not receiving their fair and proportionate share. In the last 2 years alone, charter school students received no half-cent sales tax support, yet the school district received over $100 million from the tax. These funds should benefit all public school students in Manatee County. I believe a mutually beneficial and supportive pathway exists, but it will take some work. You know, we as Manatee County, the school district and charter schools together can be the example for others to follow, supporting one another in a fair and encouraging manner, showcasing that our students' education, no matter which public school attended, is a noble and worthy cause and a noble and worthy investment. Please hear our calls and help support all Manatee County public school students. I appreciate your time and efforts and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Edward Viltz, followed by Stephen Zickafus.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning.
Distinguished board members, superintendent, and staff. My name is Edward Viltz, and I'm speaking to you in my role as a 10-year member of the Team Success Charter School Board. Team Success, just for the sake of a quick background, if you're not familiar, we now have 1,440 students. We have 88 faculty. If you do the math, we're probably near 3% of the total school population in Manatee County. Prior to the pandemic, Team Success was consistently an A school and was ranked as a high-performing school. Subsequent to the pandemic, we've been a minimum of a B school for the past 3 years and certainly intend to regain that A status commensurate with the next Florida State test. We're here to solicit your support for continued inclusion of charter schools in the half-cent sales tax revenue distribution. During prior years, Team Success has depended upon this revenue for capital improvements. You may be aware of our location. We're at the old PAL facility, Police Athletic League facility. Our North Campus is over 65 years old. It requires considerable repairs, new roof, and all of the things that you would expect with a facility that's almost my age. In actuality, these repairs are ongoing, and the tax was one of the vehicles that we use to address those issues. On a personal note, and Mr. Kennedy would certainly remember this, because back then we were in the trenches together. In 2016, when that renewal was on the ballot, a gentleman by the name of Ed Viltz was actually on a task force to support and lobby in behalf of the half-cent sales tax when I was at that time a candidate for school board. And at that time, it was completely understood that all Manatee County schools, including charter schools, would continue to share in the revenue generated by that sales tax. So what's changed? Well, frankly, nothing regulatory has changed. Therefore, we asked your support at the appropriate vote to reinstate the charter school portion of that half-cent sales tax, so the money will continue to follow the children as was originally intended. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Zickafus, followed by Ryan Murphy.
Morning, board members. Morning, superintendent.
Morning.
Thank you very much for having me here. We all want what's best for Manatee County public school students, and that starts with looking at the facts. So let me give you an answer in one number: 62. 62%, that's what Manatee County's district grade is. It's a solid B, and one should be very proud of it, okay? As a lifelong educator in Florida, I know using the school grade as the sole measure of a school's value is a dangerous oversimplification. It reduces the totality of a school's culture, creativity, and impact to a single number. And in doing so, it overlooks the tireless work of our teachers, staff, and school leaders across the county. Every school faces its own challenges and serves its own community in a unique way. The school letter grade doesn't capture after-school tutoring, the art performances, the parent phone calls, or the breakthroughs with struggling students that happens every day in the classrooms. But if the number matters, so do the people and effort behind it. And with that being said, if we're going to use that number, 62, to measure district performance, then we need to recognize who contributes to it. If you remove the 12,000 charter school students, if you strip out their contribution, that 62% drops closer to 60%. You are no longer on solid ground, you're on the edge of a sea. Because charter schools aren't dragging the district down, they're lifting it up. They outperform traditional schools in 8 of the 12 academic categories. They lead in reading learning gains, math achievement, graduation rates, college readiness, and more. All areas the state uses to define the district grade. And here's the truth. Those same students and their families pay the half-penny sales tax every time they buy a pair of shoes, groceries, or a backpack in Manatee County. When voters renewed the county-wide half-penny sales tax in 2016, it was sold to the public as a way to improve facilities, safety, and achievement for all public school students. But today, charter students receive none of it. Not a portion, not a project, not a single penny. And yet their families continue to pay the tax every time they shop. Charter schools are public schools. Their students are your students. But when it comes to this funding, they're simply being cut out. We're not asking for back pay. We're just asking to be included starting now in 24-25 and moving beyond this. And it doesn't take a policy overhaul, just a budget amendment like the ones already in front of you on today's agenda. Here's what we all know. Charter students are not separate. They matter just as much as every student you serve. They are your students too, and they're helping Manatee County schools look good in Tallahassee. So if they're good enough to count toward the district grade, shouldn't they be good enough to count toward this funding? Now, we can't rewrite what's been done, but we can make a better choice. The game's not over yet. We got 30 seconds to go, and we can make a difference, one that recognizes the contributions of all the Manatee County students. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Ryan Murphy?
Good morning. My name is Ryan Patrick Murphy, resident here of Manatee County. I have 2 students in a Palmetto Charter School, my son and daughter. When we first moved to Manatee County, my wife and I made a plan to evaluate different schools in the area and actually chose this area specifically for our children to go to school. We could have moved, we could have relocated, we could have done anything. But when we voted for that half-cent sales tax, that referendum did not say in the referendum only for non-charter school students. It said for students in Manatee County. I, as a voter, feel if this has not been done, that it's almost cheating us. It's like a game of tell us one thing and do another. And I don't believe that that's your intention, but when I found out about this first in December, I was shocked to find out that it's been over the past 2 years where our charter school hasn't received that money. That funding was not allocated specifically to non-charter schools. Now, I'm sure that other taxpayers in the county would like to know, was this meant for only non-charter schools, or was it meant for every student in our county? If it was meant for every student in our county, I don't understand what happened. Now, some people say, oh, well, we shouldn't go back and get our back pay or whatever. No, make it right. You have the opportunity to make it right. You're all in charge of this. This is not a huge burden financially for the county's budget. There's the money in the bank, yet it's kind of been skimmed. It's not a bait and switch game. We just want you to fix it. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment. Thank you all who commented today. As I did before, Mr. Dye, I just wanted to go to you one more time just to make sure. We've had some talk of legal and things like that. I just want to make sure if you can reiterate again that legally the district is not doing anything illegal.
Yes, I can reiterate I've issued an opinion that the district is not out of sync with the laws in Florida on how this tax is being distributed, and there's more to the story, and I understand we'll have a workshop on it soon for the background of how it came about and those factors, how it was distributed for a while, and where it stands today.
Thank you. Yep. And we will have a workshop. You are absolutely correct. I believe May 2nd. All right, consent items. Dr. Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval of the consent agenda for April 8th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Let's go ahead and vote on the consent items in front of us.
Oh, we did. We forgot.
Oh, I'll jump back and do that. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, we forget
We didn't forget about you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, Gavin.
But we can go ahead and vote. All right, that passes 5-0, and we're gonna throw it back in reverse and go to item number 9 with Mr. Jensen's report on the summer program. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. I appreciate the extra preparation.
Use his time wisely.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chair Cho, board members, Superintendent Weissong. Today I have Allison Nichols, our Director of Elementary Curriculum, with me to report on the 2025 summer programs and professional learning opportunities for our students, teachers, administrators, and families throughout the district. We like to bring this every year around this time to the board to kind of update you and the community on all the things going on in our school system because, as you know, our curriculum team led by Allison Nichols and Tiffany Spradling, they're still very focused on what's happening this year. They're supporting schools in that, laser-like focus and the push to testing in May here. But they also kind of have one foot in next year. They're already doing the contracts, the orders, the planning around all the instructional tools and supports for next year. And while they're supporting this year and planning for next year, they also have a huge lift in creating and supporting the summer programming that goes on in the district for all of our stakeholders. And so this presentation will kind of give you a comprehensive overview of all of the different offerings we have throughout the summer and the kinds of professional learning supports we'll be putting on for our teachers and school administrators as well. So from there, I'll let Allison take it away.
So with our first slide, we've got the alignment to the strategic plan. So through our summer programs, we're able to hit all 3 of these areas. One of the big ones for me is developing that effective professional development and high quality instructional coaching for teachers. So all of our staff who is participating in the training for summer programs receives that high quality professional learning that we hope also carries into the school year. All right, so our summer programs also provide opportunities. I think that this isn't provide opportunities for extended instructional time for our students, as well as it allows us to minimize those instructional gaps that we know can occur in summer when they're not necessarily in school all day on a regular basis. The other benefit is that we are able to provide additional paid days of work for lots of different groups of people, including our teachers, our paraprofessionals, aides, nurses, guardians, food service, bus drivers, OT and PT, speech pathologists, and even some of our counselors. And as I said on the previous slide, one of the big benefits is that our instructional staff receive additional targeted professional learning that they can then carry over and use with their students during the school year. So we're going to start first with our statutory required summer programs. So we have 4 of those, and then we have some additional programs that we as a district are able to fund and offer to our students and families. So our first program that is a statutory requirement is our 3rd grade summer reading camp that we have to offer every summer per state statutes. It is for our retained 3rd graders who do not meet promotion criteria on that PM3 FAST ELA assessment. They have to score that level 2 or higher to be promoted to 4th grade. or they do not meet a good cause option to be good cause promoted to 4th grade. This year, we will be offering 3rd grade summer reading camp at 9 sites. And in addition to the instruction the students will receive, they also receive 2 opportunities for promotion to grade 4 in the summer. So they will be able to take the STAR reading test in the summer, which will be considered a good cause promotion if they score at the 50th percentile or higher on that. And then the week of July 14th, the state is offering a new option for all 3rd graders across the state. They are allowing our 3rd graders to take FAST ELA one more time that week, starting the week of July 14th. So if a student during that window scores that level 2 or higher in the summer on that FAST administration, they will be straight promoted to 4th grade based on that test.
I have
Yep.
a question.
I also have 2 things real quick. That second opportunity at the FAST test, that's this July? That's an option
Yes.
this summer? Great.
Yes.
And then of those, historically in the past, and I get it, in the past, we haven't had that second chance at the ELA, but of the students that are in the summer program, roughly, and I know you don't have any data, and this is, I'm coming at you totally in the dark, but roughly what percentage of kids meet the criteria over the summer to be promoted?
So in the past, on average, it fluctuates
I'm sure,
by some
yeah,
students
just
here and there. We have anywhere between, let's say, 350 to 450, depending on the summer students attend. And we average around 100 students between whatever opportunities we offer each summer who then meet the criteria to then go on to 4th grade.
Okay, great.
We also, there is a mid-year promotion opportunity as well. So once the school year starts, now in state statute, prior to November 1st, if a student scores the level 2 or higher on PM1 of their FAST, when they come back in the school year, it is considered a mid-year promotion to 4th on that test as well. So then they have that opportunity again.
Wow, okay. Thank you. Thanks to the state for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
To Mr. Kennedy's point, you're saying about 100 students that would be going through this second chance, I'm guessing. How do you plan for those potential 3rd graders to get into 4th grade in July? I mean, I know we plan out, but how do you do that? I'm just curious how you go through that process.
Just to clarify, you're asking, so once they get back to their school sites, how are the
Right.
schools planning to then? So because we've been, this has been going on for a long time, the schools are very quick to move those students. A lot of times, our 4th grade might be actually sitting a little bit low because there are retained 3rd graders. So it's actually easy for the schools to just go ahead and get them moved into 4th grade. There's letters that go home to families. So once the child, if they meet the criteria in summer, a letter is sent home from that summer site to the families. The home school is communicated with, so they can further communicate with families. So it's a pretty seamless transition into 4th grade.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And then you said after PM1, if they score well, then they can go ahead and shift it back or shift forward into 4th grade?
Yes.
So that would be a beginning of the year class change as well?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So this in statute, the state now, it didn't used to be this way. This has been in the past couple of years. They defined the date of that. So by November 1st, if they show that they have met expectations or mastered 3rd grade standards, they can go ahead and get mid-year promoted to 4th. And they've included in that using FAST PM1 with that level 2 or higher, we can go ahead and get them promoted. Because obviously the sooner we can do that, the better. So then they're not missing a lot of time with those 4th grade standards.
About how many kids do we have do that?
So that's changed. This past year, we actually had a fairly good number. I can get you we can get you the numbers exactly if you would like. We had a lot more students this year who actually met at PM1 and got that mid-year promotion than we have ever had in the past.
Well, that's great. Awesome.
It's very nice, if I may, Chad. Having, what was it, Daughtry last fall, having seen it in person, the excitement of the kid who,
Oh, I bet.
you know, the celebration, like how proud of themselves they are for, you know, hey, I'm getting promoted in front of all my classmates. You know, it's really,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
you know, it's a nice moment for them. Thanks.
Just to go over to, so our, there's the rule 6A-6.053 that is tied to our comprehensive evidence-based reading plan, and this is where it defines what the criteria and expectations are for running our third grade summer reading camps from the state. So you can see that we must provide intensive interventions through these summer camps to students in grade 3 who score that level 1. And then it also defines who the staff, the teachers are that we have to hire, what that criteria is. So they must be certified or endorsed in reading, and they also must be rated highly effective to teach third grade summer reading. And additional programs that are under our statutory requirements. So if you remember last year when I presented on this, we have that our summer voluntary pre-K, our summer VPK. And it will be held this year at 2 sites for the first time. In the past, we've only held it at 1. This year, we are expanding to 2, and you'll see that they are doing the same 2 sites as our extended school year, because then there's additional support through extended school year also for VPK. So we'll be at Miller and Mills this year, and it will also help ease transportation for our families of our VPK students, since we do not provide busing for them. So we're hoping by holding at the 2 sites will allow more families to bring their, use those VPK summer vouchers and get the students into that summer VPK. And if you remember from last year, summer VPK statutory requirements, the students have to have 300 seat hours in the summer. So they start June 2nd, and these students will go all the way until July 30th. And they do, the students have to do 10-hour days to get that 300-hour seat time in that's required. And then we have a brand new statutory requirement. It's a summer bridge program. And this is for our VPK completers. So those who use their VPK, families who use their VPK voucher during the school year. And this is for any students who the criteria the state's using, they score below the 10th percentile on their PM3 STAR early literacy. Not only do we have to have seats for our own public school VPK students, we also must have seats available for any private provider whose VPK student is not meeting or is below that criteria. So we are not only having per statute to offer it to our students, we must invite and have seats available for any private student who qualifies and families want to send them to this program. Basically, it will focus on the big focus will be on literacy, early literacy skills during the summer with these students to try and fill in any gaps that they might have since they are scoring that low, so that hopefully we're starting them off in kindergarten a little bit stronger when they come to our schools in August. We will be holding this new program at Daughtry and Rogers Garden elementary schools. The statutory requirement for this is they must have a total of 100 hours in the summer for this. However, they put a little bit of a caveat on this one. It can only run 4 hours a day. So we have to have 100 hours, but we can only have the students getting instruction. Only 4 hours of the day counts towards the 100 hours. So this program will have to run for 25 days. So it will run through July 17th, July 22nd, I believe. And you'll see that in the calendar on the last slide. And then our last statutory required program is our extended school year, or ESY, and this is for our students in K through 12th grades who, on their IEPs, they have qualified. There's reason to have them attend ESY, where they're going to work more on those life skills that they need, and then they get that additional ongoing support and instruction across the summer. These are students that without that summer support and ongoing learning, there could be serious regression for these students that cannot be made up. So that's one of the criteria for students to attend that program. And again, we'll be holding this at Miller and Mills elementary schools.
Ms. Bell?
So just to summarize, to make sure I've got this. So the first one, voluntary pre-K at Miller and Mills, those are 10-hour days for those kids. Then at the summer bridge, it's 4-hour days, but of course, I anticipate that they will be there longer.
Yes.
Because most people can't come pick their kids up after 4 days or
Right.
4 hours.
Yes, so we will be running the hours the same as our third grade summer reading camp, our Title I programs for elementary, so the students will be there the same hours. However, we can only count 4 of the, I think it's 5.5 hours total the students will actually be there. We can only count 4 of those hours towards the 100-hour requirement. So hence we have to run this program a little bit longer than other programs.
Okay. And so do you struggle to get teachers and staff to participate in this?
We just closed our application process last week, and these statutory programs are hiring this week. We let them have priority hiring, and we actually, I met with my team yesterday for third grade summer reading camp, and then for this, because my team is taking point on the summer bridge program, and we actually have a good number of applicants. So we're actually, for the first time the past couple summers, yes, my answer would have been yes. We've struggled a little bit, especially with some of the requirements with the reading endorsement for the third grade program. And then there is some requirements for this new summer bridge from the state on who we are supposed to hire, what their certification is. But this summer, we're actually looking really good with the number of applicants, and we actually have a good applicant pool.
And this may be more of a Rachel question than a you question, but funding that comes down, is there funding that comes down for this, for us to offer these programs?
I'll be happy to jump in on that one. The Summer Bridge program is actually correlated with one of the items on the consent agenda tonight. So item 5 is the voluntary pre-kindergarten Summer Bridge program grant we received from the state for $67,400. Although that funding is very appreciated and will help offset some of the costs of the program, it is by no means, I think, able to cover the full cost of all the teachers, the planning time, the materials needed for the program. So it's one of those underfunded summer programs that we work with. The third grade summer reading camp has traditionally been funded from our kinds of SERP categorical funds, our reading categorical funds. Those were folded into the BSA a few years ago. And we kind of partition a portion of that funding out from the BSA in order to support that summer learning.
Thank you.
Ms.
I have
Fran?
a quick question. On extended school year, K through 12, I can understand K through 11 to 12, I'm guessing is for, to catch up on maybe credits to graduate?
All of the students in this program are ESE students
Right.
and are eligible to attend school even later than their
Okay.
18th birthday,
Okay, so it's just we're going to extend it for you because of the ESE, okay.
based on their accommodations and educational needs. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I just wanted to clarify that for myself.
Mr. Camp?
Maybe you said it, the funding for all this, do we get any FTE extra for any of our summer programs, or do we just have to take it out of funds we've already received?
This is all part of the, outside of specific, grants tied to certain programs like that voluntary pre-kindergarten
Right,
grant.
okay.
This would be out of, our normal FTE dollars for, a referendum, depending on the summer program.
So, but I guess what I'm trying, maybe you don't know the answer to the question, I don't know how we determine it, is when the state calculates an FTE, right, how much money we get per student, are they assuming that a certain percentage of like our third graders will not promote, and so, or is this just kind of taken out of Hyde, like we have to take it out of Hyde?
I would say that the state doesn't project that,
Okay.
and doesn't have a specific set aside that they increase annually for this, commensurate with the cost of operating these
Right.
programs. I think if you were to ask, they might argue that, some of the historical categorical funds that were folded into the BSA are intended to cover these programs.
Okay.
But like, the cost of operating so many of these expansive summer programs is substantial, and I would argue probably exceeds the,
Right.
amount that was originally allocated for it.
So it sounds like there are at least some of these programs are mandated now by statute, but we're not necessarily provided any funding above and beyond what our normal FTE is that we get. So would
Correct.
that be correct? So one might call that a unfunded or partially funded mandate, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, some of our additional offerings in elementary, and these are the ones that are not those statutory requirements. We just, as a district, fund and provide to families and students. So our Title I, we are running what we're calling this year a Camp Esteem. This is for our rising kindergartners, first and second graders at our Title I schools. And the curriculum this summer is going to be project-based learning with a heavy emphasis on science standards at those grade levels. So the students will get those hands-on learning experiences. Also, the camp will be aligned to resiliency standards across the summer. And then the students will participate in the Anna Maria Oyster Bar field trips that we've done every summer with Title I that is in partnership with Dive Into Reading and the Suncoast campaign for grade level reading. And then this year, they're also going to get in-school experiences through Moat Marine, Sea of Science, and then the Gabby STEM Bus. So those programs will come to each of the sites and do kind of an in-school field trip experience for them. And then we have our migrant summer camp at the elementary level. So this is pre-K through 5th grade, and it's held at Myakka Elementary School. They do get that emphasis on those STEM opportunities to help engage those students. But then they also tuck in that reading, the math, obviously science through STEM across the summer for those students as well. And then this is, I believe, our 6th summer doing the Smarten Up Camp. And this is in partnership with Manatee Education Foundation. And this is for our rising 1st through 6th graders. It will be held at Tillman Elementary School this year. And so these students get to experience all different aspects of visual and performing arts, such as dance, theater, music, and media arts. And it is sponsored by MAKE, by the Manatee Arts Education Council.
Allison, I think I know the answer. I just want to be sure. For the Smarten Up Camp, they don't have to be Tillman students. They can come from anywhere, correct?
It can be, it's anybody, any student from across the district just being housed at Tillman this year.
Just want to make sure. Thought so.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Does it move around each summer?
Yes, last summer, I'm sorry, I don't remember
That's
where
okay.
it was. It might have been at one of our middle school, no, I think it was at, was that Lee? But that's what I was thinking. I thought it was at one of our middle schools. So I think it was at Lee last summer. So yes, we do move it around. So then for secondary, some of the other options that we have, again, this is not statutory requirements. Our Title I schools will hold middle and high school bridge programs. We have 4 of them this summer holding these, so 2 middle and 2 high school. And this is for students to get acclimated to the middle school or the high school. It's also a way for the staff at the schools to get to know the students, start to build those relationships. The students get to know the school, they get to know the campus. The staff gets to start to maybe meet their families. So just kind of a nice transition program at our Title I schools for those students. We also offer middle and high school rapid recovery, which is credit recovery for our students in middle school who might not have all the credits they need to meet middle school promotion requirements to high school, and then also for our students in high school who maybe have not met all the graduation requirements yet. So they're able to work on that in the summer to try and make up some of those credits. And then our last one is a migrant summer camp for our secondary students, and this will be held at Nolan Middle School for 6th through 12th grade. And again, that heavy emphasis with those hands-on STEM opportunities, as well as embedding vocabulary and reading and writing for these secondary students through that migrant program. And then our ELL students will get invited to Camp Creator. This is an ongoing program that we've had for many summers now. This summer, it will be held for our 6th through 8th graders at Nolan, Palmview, and Sugg. And they focus in this program on coding and engineering, as well as they also embed that vocabulary, that reading and writing opportunities as well for these students. This year, we have a new offering for middle school. So we are offering a middle school robotics camp. This is for 6th through, actually it should just say robotics camp now that I'm looking at that, because it is for, I think, for 6th through 12th graders. It will be held at Hale and King Middle Schools. And the students will get to either sign up choose to do the beginning competitive robotics or the intermediate advanced competitive robotics track. So students who maybe have never experienced anything with robotics would be in that beginning level course. And then our students who have that experience, they would be in intermediate or advanced. In addition, driver's education we offer every summer at Manatee High School. So those students who are wanting to get their driver's license, they have that opportunity to get that extra instruction with driving in the summer. And then our career and post-secondary exploration program, it was offered last summer, and so we're going to be able to continue that. For our 11th and 12th graders, they will get to go to either the MTC Main or the East Campus for 3 days, and they get to get hands-on experience with about 20 different programs that MTC offers. And there will also be counselors there that will be able to explain to the students what different opportunities they have for maybe scholarships, how do they apply, how do they get into MTC, basically. So counselors will be there to help the students and talk to them about that if the students are interested.
Ms. Felton had a question.
Okay, so I'm going to flip back a little bit. For the Title I camps, are those paid for from Title I funds?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm very interested in funding these days.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in Tallahassee. So the Smarten Up, that's Manatee Arts.
Yes.
Helps cover that one. What about the migrant camps?
That is all through federal funds, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. I believe it's Title IV, I think, might cover that, or Title III, one or the other. We can get clarification on that unless.
Okay. All right, that's awesome. I just, there's so much that comes into, because we offer a lot. And I just want the public to know how much contribution we get through grants and federal funds and local, businesses, and to help provide all of these things to all of these kids to, number one, keep them from getting in trouble in the summer, which is having had the parenting of 2 children and not knowing what to do with them during the summer. I completely embrace this. But then also the ability to have these experiences they wouldn't normally have. It's just, these are some really amazing programs, and I'm really looking forward to visiting some of these over the summer.
Oh, Ms. Tatum.
So the funding for our non-statutorily required programs is mostly from grants and community partners. Is that true?
Yes, so referendum is
Okay.
some for the robotics camp, and I believe possibly the post-secondary, and then federal grants, mostly the rest.
Okay. Was there one from sponsored by the Manatee Arts Council or something? Did I see
Yeah.
that?
Smarten Up Camp, yes,
Okay.
between them and Manatee Education Foundation, I believe, also helps.
So
contribute.
sponsored means that they provide some funds for those.
Yes.
So it sounds like it's a combination of some of our funds from the referendum where it talked about STEM and the arts, and then some from grants that we apply for and receive from state and federal sources, and then some from local community partners. Is that right? Okay, great. Thank you.
I just, real quick.
Yeah.
Sounds like we got a lot of things going on throughout the summer. Back to the funding. When you said that on our consent, we have $67,000 on there for a grant for the first part of the programs that we talked about. I'm trying to flip through here. The ELA to retake and all of those things, you're saying those are statutory requirements that we have to do some of these programs, correct? But they're not 100% funded, like the summer statutory on slide 6 is what I'm looking at.
Correct. So like, for example, the Summer Bridge program is new, and there was a state grant associated with it for that $67,400.
But it's not 100% funded, you're telling me.
No, and we'd have to track expenses for that. We could share kind of at the end of the program, kind of what the actual cost to operate the program versus the amount of grant funding we received was, and give you what that delta is. And then for things like the third grade summer reading camp, you know, we pay for that out of kind of set aside out of our BSA that we use for kind of reading-based programs. It used to be a reading categorical fund, now it's just folded into the BSA. But it's not adjusted based on the number of students who qualify. It's not adjusted annually or anything for, you know, cost of the programs or inflation. So that's just money out of the BSA that we're setting aside to operate some of these statutory requirements.
So we're using BSA, grant funding, and referendum for these programs, I'm hoping?
Yes, and
For
federal
these
funding.
summer statutory requirement programs?
We're using primarily BSA, grant funding, some federal money.
And what?
And federal money,
And federal.
correct. For
And
the-
you're still
for the
saying that's
required
not
programs.
enough funding? We're still not covering 100% of the funding, that we're pulling it from other, so those are the 4 main funding sources for this program?
Yes, I would say the district, you know, has to subsidize, you know, out of our BSA funding to provide
Okay.
these services for students over the summer, because the state is really basing our funding based on kids attending August through May.
Right.
They're not basing it on the students
summer
attending
stuff.
June and July.
Right, the summer programs,
Correct.
correct? But we do that internally. We kind of project out what we might need for these programs in the summer. That's what I'm hearing anyway. That's what the takeaway I have anyway. So, okay. And then the other offerings are, we are choosing to do these programs to help our students throughout the summer. Am I correct in that assumption? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then, I mean, when I go through here, I counted like 7 different schools. So when people think the bell rings the last day of school, that's the end of it, but it's really not. We have a whole lot of activities going on in our schools. Mills, Miller, Rogers, Daughtry, MTC, Mayaca. I mean, that's just the ones I, off the top of my head here. Manatee High. So there are opportunities out there.
That's a great point, Ms. Bray. I think, you know, a lot of people think May comes and our teachers and administrators go home and then they show back up in August. That's not the case at all.
Right.
We have, even though it's not necessarily, these programs aren't operating at every school, the impacts are felt around all of our schools. Allison has an extremely complex coverage schedule where all of our elementary school administrators are assigned to these sites to cover and supervise. Our teachers are working throughout the summer on these summer programs, supporting students and engaging in professional development. I mean, our system is really humming along throughout summer to provide students and families with more opportunities.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think you're on 12.
Thank you. Okay, so as we shared, due to funding sources, and for those of you who saw my presentation last year, and if you remember, we said that there would potentially be some programs that for this summer we would not be able to offer because we had funding that was going away or sunsetting, like our ESSER dollars. So I am actually happy to report that we, out of all of the offerings from last summer, there were only 2 that we could not fund this year, which was the Guy Harvey summer camps, because that was through, if you remember, that state appropriation we had just for last school year. And so we had that at Anna Maria Elementary, King, and Manatee High. So we were not able to fund and continue that. However, the 3 schools are offering very specific Guy Harvey opportunities and experiences to their students through their own money that they have internally. And then we also had to discontinue our visual and performing arts camps due to that was funded through ESSER, and with ESSER going away, we weren't able to continue that funding. But we do have in its place the 2 new offerings, as I said earlier, the robotics camp, which we're using referendum dollars for, and then our the summer bridge for our VPK completers who fall below that 10th percentile, and we did get some funding for that through the state grants.
All right.
Our timeline for summer programs. So as I said earlier, we just finished our application window this last week. We're currently in our hiring window, and again, priority hiring is given to our statutory programs. So third grade summer reading camp, VPK, Summer Bridge, and ESY will hire first, and then all of our other programs will get to hire once those programs are staffed. We are holding full-day staff trainings for summer programs on May 30th, and our students will start on June 2nd. Summer programs do run 4 days per week, Monday through Thursday, except on June 19th, the whole district is closed. And then our summer programs will be closed also on June 20th, just because to bring students back for 1 day and then send them back home it's not the best, just doesn't really work. So, and then we've got that week where July 4th falls, so the week of June 30th, our summer programs are closed that week because we found that that's when a lot of families take vacation and we don't have high attendance that week. And then so any programs that will have to continue will start up that next week again. In addition to getting summer programs ready, our department, with professional learning that falls under us, we are working on our summer learning opportunities for staff. So the leadership conference for all of our assistant principals, and district leadership will be July 16th and 17th. And then we are in the midst of working on planning our new educator orientation, which will be July 23rd and 24th. And thank you to Manatee High School, who's graciously hosting us again. They hosted us last summer, and they are allowing us to come back for that. So at the new educator orientation, it's for new teachers to our district. It could be brand new teachers who have never taught. It could be new teachers who maybe are coming in from another district or from out of state, so it's their first time in our district. But they get 2 days where they're working with HR, they're working with benefits, they get professional learning around the curriculum and all the curriculum documents that they will see and utilize in their classrooms. Student services will come in and do sessions around classroom management, supporting behavior, setting up processes in your classroom. Safety and security will present and talk to them about all of those pieces. So it's kind of just this very high level overview and comprehensive overview. And then the new educators will get more. They are allowed to attend the next conference, which is our summer refresh conference, and I'll speak to that in a second. But then when they get to their school sites, they'll get additional support at their school sites. And then last summer, we brought back our in-person teacher professional learning conference. And that was through ESSER dollars last summer, but we are able to continue and offer this again this summer. It will be in person, and we decided to name it a refresh conference so that you're coming back and you're getting refreshed and to kick off your school year. And this will be July 28th through July 30th at Braden River High School. And there will be all kinds of different sessions. On the instructional side, student services again will partner with us to offer sessions around behavior management, processes and procedures, supporting students. They'll get the curriculum side with sessions around strategies and instructional materials that they'll use and see in their classrooms. So just kind of a great 3 days where they get to interact with other educators, have really great conversations, and get their school year started off.
Quick question on that. So is this related to this the Summer Leadership Conference? I'll say we got an email like yesterday about if there was something you wanted to see. There was a survey to complete, but I think that was for the leadership one.
You're right, that was for the refresh conference. We wanted to send out a survey this year to get teacher voices and administrator voices, everybody's voice. It went to everybody, media specialists, everybody. We just wanted to kind of get a pulse on what everybody feels like they are interested in or need, so that as we are looking to plan sessions for the refresh conference, we've heard their voices and we'll try and do what we can to make sure we're incorporating some of that.
Okay, so nobody gets to complain that they don't have anything that they want to attend, because if you don't contribute and ask questions, then you're yeah. So, anybody out there who might be listening or watching this later, fill out your survey.
Yeah, please do. We will look at it. We are going to look at it. And then the last slide is just so you can see our summer calendar. So just kind of dates and all the different programs and things that we just spoke about. The red arrow, anything with a red arrow is a summer program or a summer offering for students. And then in July, where you see the blue arrows, that is the summer professional learning opportunities for staff. I included on this slide, just as a little summary, are the required hours for both VPK and that summer bridge for our VPK completers. And then the state FAST administration window for our third grade retained students when they are allowed to take that re-administration of FAST ELA.
All right. I have a question and then a comment. Obviously, a lot going on, and we're offering a lot. How are we communicating to the families that these programs are being offered?
It varies by program, but most programs it's through letters home or might even be direct phone calls. So, for example, our migrant camp and our ELL camp is a very targeted group of students. Right. So, like Miss Esta's department for the camp creator for our ELL students, they will work directly and communicate directly with families through letters, through phone calls, could be emails. Same for our migrant camp. Third grade summer reading camp, we have a letter that we've drafted from the curriculum department that we put on district letterhead. So once we know students who are for sure being retained, that letter goes home to families. Schools have also previously communicated with families that your child has a potential to be retained, and that if they don't meet the criteria, they will have the opportunity to attend third grade summer reading camp, and here are the dates. So then families, we try and let them know as soon as we can, here are these dates for this program.
Okay, great. Ms. Chatham?
That was very informative. Thank you. A couple follow-up questions, please. So our programs, I know some charter school students apparently can attend them, but are they open to all types of students? When I say that, I mean private school, charter school, traditional public school, or who can attend our programs, or is there a mixture? Some programs everybody can attend, some are only for traditional public school students.
All of our programs, so except for the new summer bridge for our VPK completers, where again in statute we have to have seats for any child, even in our private providers, if they meet that criteria. Otherwise, they're all for our public school students. The charter schools receive, for third grade summer reading camp, they receive money in their FTE as part of that comprehensive evidence-based reading plan. So then they're allocating, just like we have to allocate some of our dollars to run our summer third grade reading camp, they do the same thing to run theirs.
Okay. So they have their programs and we have ours, and they don't cross streams, so to speak. Okay. And then approximately how many in our traditional public school programs, approximately how many students will attend them throughout the summer, if you had to, off the top of your head? Or what was last year's number, and probably would be a good estimate?
I would have to get back to you because it would be by program. It varies.
Yeah.
I mean, third grade summer reading camp, I think we had somewhere between last summer 400 to 450 students who attended during the summer. Title I was done a little bit differently last summer, so I'd have to get those numbers for you, but we can do that if you would like. I can get you kind of numbers by program.
I would like to know, please. It doesn't have to be down to the individual student, but 3,500, 20. It's just interesting to know. Like Ms. Spray said, there's stuff going on, all summer. Yeah. And then the last question I have is, what type of transportation do we provide for our summer? There you go. What type of transportation do we provide? Do we provide any transportation for any of our summer programs? Or
yes. So for our summer reading camp, we provide transportation. For our ESY program, we provide transportation. For our Title I program, our elementary program, we provide transportation, as well as for Camp Creator, our ELL camp, and our migrant camp, we provide transportation for all of those. Everything else, we do not. It's parents would need to drive their students there.
And are we statutorily required to provide that transportation, or some programs yes and some programs no? Or
No, there's nothing in statute about requiring, to provide the transportation.
Okay.
So something that we do because we know, especially for those statutory programs, the ones that we can provide transportation to, we want to get the students there, right? It's important to have them there. Same for our Title I camps. We're choosing to allocate some of those dollars to be able to provide transportation because we want to get as many students as possible into those programs in the summer.
That makes sense because that helps improve their academic performance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks. Before I let you go, and I was going to do this in board comments, but since you all are here and Tiffany's here, and I know Lynn's not, but I saw Lynn Saturday, the STEM showcase was phenomenal. I was there for about an hour, 10 to 11, and I didn't get to see in either of you two, but I did see Lynn, and I mean, awesome. The students were fantastic at the tables, and I think the first table was Sug Middle's bird, animatronic bird, and the students being able to talk about what it was, and you got to control it. It was a phenomenal event, and I know it took you guys a lot to put that together. So with you in front of me, I wanted to say thank you to your team. Obviously, all the schools that participated and things like that. It was phenomenal. It really, really was.
Thank you. Yes, we couldn't have done it without. I mean, it was a big joint effort across the board. So thank you.
I want to jump in and say I also went, and I had a great time. There was so many neat things to see that I kept thinking, gee, maybe I wish I had taught science instead of English, because there's so much neat stuff that just has developed over the last 20 years that didn't exist even when my own kids were in those grades, just even the last 10 years. The opportunities our kids have that you all are able to provide them in the classroom are just absolutely amazing. And to have the kids explain to us what they're doing and why it's important, and to basically, it's not just, oh, we did this neat thing. It's this is what we learned and this is what we studied, and to have them be able to to explain it to us and to teach us what they've learned, then you really know they got it if they can teach someone else.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. And just the amount of adults without kids, like they weren't walking around with their kids, I thought was great. Like it was the community members just coming out and seeing what our schools are doing. So yeah, it was great. I didn't get to fly the drone.
Was the line too long? I heard that there was a very long line with the drone.
Yeah, I didn't do the drone either.
But it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I think my favorite was seeing the parents on the floor up by like the catapult area, making using the materials to make catapults with their children.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Great event.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Chip.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on to item 13, new business. Item number 1, approval of the budget amendments. Dr. Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval of the budget amendments for February 2025.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Ms. Sellers,
Hi, yes.
as you get yourself adjusted there.
Don't move fast today. Yes, these are the February 2025 budget amendments. There were 722 of those budget amendments, and there were 2,600 chart strings that affected those. Out of those chart strings, there were 6 that were over 1 million. They were all related in the capital fund, also related to impact fees. This was like increasing the interest, the estimate on the impact revenue, and moving budget around from owner's activity over to different school accounts for the furniture, fixtures, and equipments. For example, like Manatee K8, Barbie, Harvey K8, those type of items, and you had offsetting debits and credits. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know you explained in the board briefing as well, so appreciate that. I don't see any board members lit up to ask any questions, so Let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the budget amendments for February 2025. And that passes 5-0. All right, moving on to item number 2 under new business. Dr. Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval of a new job description and position of Guardian Weapons Detection Systems Technician.
So moved.
I'll second.
So we got a motion and a second on the floor. Dr. Weissong, if you just want to go ahead and explain the this new job description.
Certainly. Board members, as we prepare to implement the direction that you approved in January of 2025 to move to universal daily screening in our middle schools, as we now have in our high schools, obviously we're scaling up both equipment and personnel to make that happen in August at all of our district-operated schools. One need identified by Mr. D'Amico and his team is to have some specialty training for one of our guardians to do more in-depth troubleshooting and maintenance on our equipment. And so this position allows us to do that. Again, this will be a fully certified school guardian who gets additional training, handles troubleshooting, and of course, when all is running well, that person will be floating around our schools. Board, thank you for giving us the tools we need to get this implemented.
Thank you.
And I just want to say
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for making the modifications to the description that we talked about during my briefing. Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the new job description position for Guardian Weapons Detection Systems. And that passes 5-0. New business, no superintendent recommendation. Item number 1 is internal auditor scope of work. I'm going to give it to you, Mr. Kennedy.
And I'm gonna give it to Mr. Smith, who's, I saw him come in. I'll let the expert handle this and not my, my amateur attempt at it.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Mark.
Morning.
So we had planned in the 2024-2025 audit plan that was approved by the board for a maintenance and facilities audit. This had also been on the 23-24 plan, and due to the 5-year study that the consultant came in and did for the facilities planning, that's why it was moved to the 24-25 school year and was replaced by the transportation audit. Part of it too was ensuring that the scope that we would have in our maintenance and facilities didn't overlap with anything that was done in the consultant report. We're going to focus more on the day-to-day maintenance and facilities. Some request comes in that something's broken, it gets prioritized, gets fixed rather than the long-term planning construction. We had that on the plan. We had a planning meeting a couple weeks ago with Mrs. Sellers and Mr. Rinaldi, as well as Mary Foreman, and it was discussed that due to staffing issues and them just having that 5-year done on the construction piece, and that the AG that was coming in was that not having the maintenance and facilities audit that was in the audit plan conducted while we finished out our contract here because of timing and staffing issues. So it was suggested by Mrs. Foreman that that be brought before the board because it was in the audit plan to determine if the board would like to not perform that audit during this school year.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Well said. Thank you. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, no, I'll just to follow up. We as a board have to, the board has taken action to do this audit. As Mark said, it's now been on the verge of being postponed a second time if we don't do it. The board took action to include this audit in the plan. And so the sentiment is, and I agree with it, that the board should then, if we're not going to do it, or if we're going to delay it again, and then if we delay it again, it bumps up into the AG's audit potentially, if the AG decides that that's a piece that they want to do, you know, but we as a board have to take some action to say, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down, what are we gonna do with this piece that's just now for the second year in a row kind of floating around out there? So, you know, we don't need to do it at this meeting, we could do it in, well, actually, when's our next meeting?
April 29th.
29th. Okay, so that's, you know, maybe we should talk about this now then and do a motion then.
Sure.
Because CRI is finished on June 30. You know, time is of the essence if the board does want CRI to work on this. And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, there is hours in your contract for the 24-25 year to do, there's hours there to do this audit if the board does want you to. Okay, I just want to make sure. So the time is there, the hours are allotted and budgeted, so which, you know, we could talk about it for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, I would like to probably give some kind of direction, for sure.
Yeah, we
Ms.
should.
Frey?
Okay, so this was in the original plan to do this audit, and it got bumped out.
Last fiscal year.
Right, the last fiscal year. My concern is two different auditors overlapping, because their contract ends June 30th. How long is it gonna take to do this particular piece of this audit?
Mark, can you come back to?
Yeah, come on up.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Jim Daniel, Chairman of the Audit Committee. We've tried to be accommodating to different needs, different circumstances that have happened. There's been turnover, there's been the 5-year plan that had to be done, there's been a lot of conflicts. It is something that we believe needs to be addressed, but as Ms. Foreman communicated, it really just isn't time to get this done appropriately in the next 90 days. I don't believe that it's something we want to let go, so I'm coming to you at the workshop to offer several different options. The first one is to let CRI perhaps extend their contract to do that. The second is to have our new auditors coming in to perform that early in their term. Third might be to offer a set of procedures and things we want to have looked at that the Auditor General could do during their operational audit. And the fourth option is to do nothing, which is not what we want to do. It is something that we felt was necessary, the nature of what goes on in the maintenance in the facilities, the turnover of the staff that's been there. We felt it needed looking at. You've agreed with that 2 years in a row. I don't know that there's been anybody trying to avoid things perhaps other than just, again, in the circumstances. The staff has been busy, they've been closing out years. We did move some things around. We did a transportation audit, swapped it earlier this year to do that. I feel like we just kind of ran out of time here. I do want to note, though, that the new auditors will be asked to start with their 5-year. Every 5 years, we have to do a full detailed risk assessment. So they're going to be in the staff offices and asking a lot of questions. We'll discuss at the May meeting whether we want to have them at the same time perform this audit going forward while they're doing that. We're running into a bit of a law of unintended consequences by delaying, because instead of having somebody that's been around for several years and knows the staff and knows where to go ask, we're looking at having new people come in that have to be educated and trained in our ways. But that is, again, just the nature of what we're doing. And you know, Ms. Foreman has recommended, and I would agree with her, that we do not try to have it shoved through in the next 90 days. If we want to have CRI do it, we need to extend their contract to the extent that that particular engagement is given time to finish, not beyond my scope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. That was the oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Heather, go
I
ahead.
didn't know if you were.
Right,
I can
and-
move on.
I can wait. I didn't.
And that's my problem, extending a contract. Yeah, that's the problem I have, is extending a contract. We We have a new auditor coming on board. We got the AGs coming in too. I just don't, and I understand that there's hours left and that we probably need to get this done, but I don't feel like having 3 different audit things going on at the same time. We would have CRI, the new one I can never remember. RSM, right, RSM, and then the actual AGs too. I wouldn't support extending CRIs just to do this portion of it on it.
Thank you. Here's my question, and I looked at Mr. Nolly because it's operations and that sort of thing. I agree. I mean, I don't think we need to overlap what the Auditor General's coming in and looking at and having, whether it's RSM, CRI, whoever we have as our auditing firm. I don't ever want to overlap that same thing happening at the same time. I don't think it's needed. So my question, unless, and Ms. Sellers can answer this too, both of you guys combined, unless the Auditor General's not doing something that perhaps the auditing firm would do, right? And if the Auditing General is doing everything, the whole scope, I don't want to pay for something that they're already doing.
Correct. I can speak to that. The Auditor General's office has begun, the entrance conference is actually scheduled for next Monday, but they have already started making their requests. In regards to this particular report, this from MGT Consulting, they already have that particular report, and I received a response from them this morning. While they have that report and they have looked at those audit findings, currently right now, they don't have any additional things that they're seeking related to that particular audit report. That was a performance audit because it was on the educational planning facilities and the construction activities. They have already started looking at the construction administration, and they are also inquiring about the district's other projects that they seek to do in regards to all other renovations, remodeling, that key piece to do their risk assessment to decide which of the construction projects will be reviewed more in depth. They do it on a significant basis, but they also look at your architects and the CM reports, and they'll base that on the significant cost of each of those projects. So they have already begun to start looking and are in this area currently right now. That particular report for the operational audit, the Auditor General's office is expecting to, they've already told us this, they're expecting to have it completed in September. And at the same time, they are also doing the financial federal audit, which they are expected to have completed in December. Those areas are being looked at that you're discussing right now by the Auditor General, and it is already currently right now. So while it is not an audit that this district has to pay for, they do have all of their topics and areas that they are looking at, and this particular area is one of them.
Okay.
So from the standpoint of scope as well, right now, we don't know what the full scope of the AG's office is going to be. I mean, they have the ability to look at all the facilities if that's what they desire. Now, from the standpoint of overlap of scope, that's not as much an issue as overlap of people, because those same individuals that are going to be doing the AG audit will be doing this audit if it's this third audit as well. So that's the primary concern, not to mention a couple schools that need to be open, a couple schools need to be designed as well, and that's all the same people. So it's the overlap of people.
Right.
That's a concern as well. But right now, scope-wise, if the AG gets in and does look at the maintenance side, then it'll be taken care of. If they do not, then we'll be prepared once their report is done to look at the maintenance side as well.
Yeah.
If I may, as Ms. Sellers noted, they do it based on size and which individual construction projects they're going to look at, the system on that. but they're not looking down at the nuts and bolts. They're not looking at the level, excuse me. Our scope is much more into what's happening in the way things are processed, the testing to make sure that maintenance slips are being turned in, they're being followed up on, what is the response time, things like that they're not going to look at. And as far as the personnel, that's what we've been hearing for 2 years. At some point, we got to step up. Now, if we want to wait till they come out with their report in September and then sit down in the audit committee and evaluate that and go forward from there, that's okay. But we believe there's things that they're not looking at that we need to look at. And we have believed that for 2 years. Again, we've tried to be accommodating, but at some point, either we do our job or we go home.
Ms. Vaughn?
Actually, it was mostly covered. I was going to ask Mr. Rinaldi about timelines and how this fits with others coming in, so, but you've pretty much spoken to that.
If I can just add, the other issue that Mr. Rinaldi didn't mention is that those same people are also the people who are driving the rezoning process.
Right.
So it really is that our district is growing, and I am being frankly stingy about trying to hold our central office costs. And so we can add layer and layer and layer if we want, and at some point we will have to add people to meet those needs. Right now it's the same small group of people, and board members. I will just tell you from a scheduling perspective, I mean, we're at the point now where those of us who are involved in all these processes, we're down to dinner meetings and canceling some things to get to other things. We're just at a critical point in school construction and rezoning and growth, and I don't want to miss any of those deadlines because of the impact to children and families. We're happy to pick up and be audited as soon as we get through, a couple of these, big stepping stones for this district in the next 6 months. But we just need a little more grace.
Yeah. So then, timeline-wise, we've got the big audit in process now. They should be done probably not till December, but if I remember correctly, we've got rezoning, which we hope to have pretty much wrapped up by September, if I'm on the right page with that one. New construction. We've got 2 schools opening in the fall that we have to finish. Not to mention the 2 that are under construction, but I'm going to pretend those ones aren't there for just a minute. So for the audit committee, if we go ahead and attack this because I agree it needs to get done. But if we can set a kind of a hard and fast, okay, we're going to do it now for the fall, would that be acceptable so that our staff is not unduly burdened, because I think they already are?
I understand their limitations and needs. To give a real definitive answer, I'd like to have the main audit committee meeting so that the others would have a chance to weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like a reasonable alternative would be to wait till the Auditor General's report comes out in September. And in our September meeting, even if we have to have a draft of it to work with, we could look at that, then come forward. If we can have a commitment to have staff available after September, October, November, December, in that time period, I think we could probably delay it till then and then not repeat what the others may have done. Because we looked at the MGT report, and the questions that we asked are totally different than what they asked. Mm-hmm. They were looking more towards planning and what's organization and looking at it a 5-year picture. We're looking at what's happening right now. But I would think a reasonable alternative, which I would propose to the committee in May, is wait for the September issue of the Auditor General's operational report, then make a choice to go forward if that works time-wise.
Ms. Kearney?
That sounds reasonable.
Thank you. Yeah, Jim, I agree with you. I think, big picture, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is interesting because we have, this classic push-pull between the administration and oversight, and that's the nature of this question, and I think that's it. Like, why don't we just wait until September, and then we can kind of solidify the audit plan a little with much better information. I do have a small picture question, though. The MGT audit on ed facilities and construction, where are we in process with that? Because that,
It's issued.
right, but it hasn't come back to
September
the,
30, 2024.
has that come back to the board or to the audit committee?
That particular report,
I thought it was accepted by the board.
yeah, you thought, I beg your pardon?
I thought it was presented to the board and they accepted the report.
I can't recall that. I know that it did not go to the audit committee. I wasn't aware that there's lots of monitoring reviews and stuff. This, usually what goes to the audit committee are their audits that they have. They have opined to have, and given to the board to do, and our financial audits, our federal and audit, or the financial federal audits, related to the ACFR and to the school internal accounts as well. Those are the traditional items that, external ones that do end up going to the audit committee.
Okay.
I thought we did vote on the
Did that go in?
24 some.
Okay.
It may have been before you came.
I
on
was
the
gonna say, it
board.
might be pre-us.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to double check on that, thank you.
So, I mean, do we want to, I mean, it seems like you are no to not doing it now.
Right.
And doing it later.
Yeah, maybe,
I know,
maybe we just
it
need a
sounds like you
consensus,
are.
yeah.
Sounds like you are as well. Sounds like you are as well. Does someone want to make a motion? I mean, I don't know if we need to actually, I guess legal, we can ask. I mean, I don't know if we need to actually do a motion and say
I'll do
we're
a
gonna,
motion.
because we did have obviously in the contract, we said, hey, these are hours, but I don't know if we need to legally make a motion to retract hours. I mean, or just, what are your thoughts?
If I may, I think we wanted your direction. We came and told you we were going to do this. We're not able to do it in a timely, organized fashion. We didn't want to not do it without you knowing what the circumstances were. Frankly, seeing your thumbs up, I think we can go back to the committee unless Mr. Dye thinks we do need a formal motion and go forward with your direction.
You've had a pretty thorough discussion of it. I mean, I think you may want to go ahead and take an action right now to have a clear path forward.
Okay.
You don't have to, but you've had a pretty thorough discussion. Give the audit committee some clear direction.
Okay.
I make a motion that we move to have this portion of the audit done after the AG, after September, October, and that those actions would be done with our new auditor, RSM.
Oh, we have a motion? Second?
I'll second.
And we have a second? And, were you able to put that in? That's fine, don't worry about it. All right, so we'll just vote. We'll vote manually, yeah. All those in favor of Ms. Spray's motion, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, carries 5-0.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, moves us to just item number 16, information only. The year-to-date financial statements, also the charter school financial statements are there. And the school safety requirements and monitoring reports is there, as we did that this morning. Moving on to updates, instructional update.
Awesome. Chair Choate, thank you again for recognizing the curriculum team's STEM showcase this past Saturday. I agree, it was an absolutely wonderful event. We had almost 1,000 people walk through the doors that Saturday, so some great community involvement, and it was just really wonderful to see all the students and their parents interacting with what we have to offer in the school district of Manatee County. I feel like it really hit me because rarely, I know we have a lot going on, but rarely do you see it all together in one place and the true scope of everything we have to offer. And seeing everything we offer from kindergarten all the way through MTC to support student learning was really special. So thanks again to the team that put on that event. Additionally, we have the Golden Herald Awards that are this Thursday, where high school seniors are recognized for service to their school and community. Those awards are given in categories to individuals whose record of service best exemplifies the use of his or her abilities to help others. Proms are also scheduled over the next 2 weeks, so as you're out and about,
Yes,
expect
I
to see some
know.
students in their formal wear taking pictures around town. So keep an eye out for our students out and about for prom. We have our summer VPK registration that's begun. Ms. Nichols shared about that program, but it'll run June 2nd through July 30th, and it'll be offered at Miller and Mills. Students who have not participated in a school year VPK program and were 4 years old by September 2024 are eligible to participate, and families can contact our VPK office if they would like to express their intent to participate. We also have Suncoast Remake Learning Days coming soon, April 19th through May 3rd. This is the 4th year of the festival, featuring free learning opportunities across 4 counties: Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte, and DeSoto. Youth, families, grandparents, educators all get a chance to explore hands-on and fun ways of learning with free events around the community. Soren 4 and many of our schools participate by hosting events as part of this festival, and so we look forward to Suncoast Remake Learning Days. And finally, we had some obviously great ACT and CTE winners. Our FBLA students attended the State Leadership Conference and Competition in Orlando. Lakewood Ranch, Southeast, Nolan, and Mona Jane all had students qualify for the national competition in June, and Southeast High School had a first place winner in sales presentation. And this past weekend, our HOSA students competed at the state conference and competition in Orlando. We had multiple students from middle and high qualify for the international competition this summer, with Parish Community and Nolan having first place qualifiers. So congratulations to all those students and their teachers.
Thank you. Fresh.
Good afternoon, board members. Dr. Wysong. Quick update on operations. Human resources. On March 25th, an alternative pathway event was held. 21 individuals were in attendance. They learned how to apply for a temporary teaching certificate and what needs to be done to start a teaching career in Manatee County Schools. We had an Operation Job Fair on March 27th. We had 58 attendees. We made 21 offers, so that was pretty good. Custodial made 4 offers. Food service made 8 offers, including a cafeteria manager. Transportation made 9 offers, 5 bus attendants, and 4 drivers, so very successful. Not so successful was the Florida Teach-In, which is a state-sponsored event. It was held in Orlando on April 5th. There were less than 50 attendees. We did interview 8 candidates, though. Took resumes from everybody that was there, and more importantly, we handed out our flyers for the April 26th teacher para job fair that was coming up. So it was difficult. Upcoming recruiting, Operations Job Fair at the Wakeland Center is scheduled for Thursday, April 17th from 2:00 p.m. to 5:00 p.m. Teacher and Para Job Fair is at MTC on Saturday, April 26th, and that's going to be from 9:00 a.m. until noon. This has been a really well-attended event, and we're looking forward to that. The state of Florida, in collaboration with the Florida Agency for Healthcare, AHCA, has implemented a new fingerprinting procedure, which became live on the 7th. So at this point right now, everyone is scrambling to get their cameras, to get their fingerprinting equipment, but we expect to be up and running in fingerprinting by the end of this week as well. So that is going on in HR. From the standpoint of food and nutrition services, you saw our pickles. Spring training, opening day, we had a celebration there. Prime Cafeteria celebrated spring training and opening of the Major League season on March 14th with a visit by Marauder players. Students played trivia games, and they won prizes including bobblehead dolls, or bobbleheads, cups, and pencils. The special menu for the day, of course, was hot dogs and frozen slushies. Congressional award for Kelly Taylor for our cafeteria manager at Braden River Middle School. She's been selected by Congressman Vern Buchanan. The award will be presented at a ceremony on May 1st at MTC. The Congressman will also be honoring cafeteria managers and food and nutrition service staff who supported our community during both of the hurricanes, Helene and Milton as well. Transportation, just a quick overview. Right now, we do have 91 bus drivers on our roster. 4 are on leave of absence and 1 is on light duty. So we actually have 86 that are active drivers. But good news is we have 18 applicants as of the end of last week. So we're moving forward with that as well. But bus drivers are still our focus at this point.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Legal?
Couple things. You'll be seeing another shade meeting soon for litigation on the Canaan case. It's scheduled for mediation the end of this month. And so Ms. Jackson and I will be putting together a shade meeting to update the board on what's going on there. And just 2 updates. We've closed the sites, the real estate deals on Artisan Lakes and Rye Elementary. So those are both done and owned by the district. And as you know, the bonds closed as well related to those 2 schools. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Superintendent.
Thank you, Chairman and board members. First, I appreciate your support of today's consent agenda. There were 22 items that allow us to continue with the routine operation of the district. Included on today's consent agenda, the substantial completion for the new building at Parish Community High that is now open and serving students. So we're glad to check that project off the list. You also took the next steps forward to begin planning for the future high school, still on track to open in 2027, locking in the architect for design work and giving us permission to advertise for a construction manager. So we're excited to keep that moving forward. You also accepted for Manatee Technical College the donation of a fire truck that was donated by East Manatee Fire Rescue. We appreciate their ongoing support of Manatee Technical College and the fire program there. And then finally, board members, you approved student travel that is taking place over the next month. We have students who have qualified to the Southeast Regional Aerial Drone Championships in Lexington and to the Regeneron International Science and Engineering Fair in Columbus, Ohio. And so congratulations to all those students and best of luck at their next level of competition. Just to highlight a couple of events, our last board meeting was just before spring break, and several of you joined me at Project Teach right before spring break, and just an incredible program offered by the Manatee Chamber of Commerce, and we're so grateful for that partnership with the Chamber, and I know board members that each of you knows that that's a very long-standing partnership and you know, a really unusual one around the state. There are lots of districts that will get a phone call, hey, this year's chamber board chair is interested in doing an event with the school district, right? And for the chamber to every single year for decades to be running multiple events, whether it's Big Bank or Project Teach, is really remarkable. So, you know, big thanks to Jackie Dzelski and the chamber staff for every year coming back and supporting our students and schools. Right after spring break, in addition to the new building opening at Parish, we also had new and remodeled buildings opening across the district, including at Oneiko, and then the new building is now open at Blackburn Elementary. And I know Mr. Rinaldi and I and Mr. Clark, several other cabinet members were there for the first day to watch the students come into their new cafeteria, and the smiles on their faces just is something I won't forget. That campus, that community has waited a long, long time for that renovation project, and just to be there and watching kids explore their new campus, really, really amazing, and definitely something I won't forget. Board members, on other topics, again, we're just periodically updating you on rezoning. We're in the kind of quiet phase of the work now, where the staff is working to generate 3 maps, draft maps to present to the board and the community. We're continuing that process and anticipating, an update and a release of information mid-May. So that work is ongoing. We're also working, board members, to think just beyond rezoning and potentially the development of the board's next strategic plan, and making sure that the leadership team is deep in thought about that process. To that end, Mr. Jensen and I had a travel opportunity last week. Thank you for allowing us to travel with the Florida Association for School Administrators to California, where we received an executive briefing at Apple headquarters in Cupertino. We also had the opportunity to spend an afternoon at Stanford University touring one of their maker spaces that college students are using to design prototypes for future potential product commercialization. We also had an opportunity to tour their design school, which is a great interdisciplinary piece. And I know that that's gotten Mr. Jensen and I thinking about future programming opportunities in our high schools and what we need to be prepping future graduates for. And then additionally, later this week, we'll be collaborating with the Anshin Center at the University of South Florida. That is a leadership arm of the College of Education at USF. And we're going to be participating, one of several districts, in a strengthening leadership teams year-long cohort, really making sure that we have everything in place as we go into that strategic planning process. Finally, board members, I want to thank each of you for the time that you have been spending either on the road up to Tallahassee or on the phone with legislators. Each of you, I know, is working your networks and building new ones to address some of the proposals that are coming out of Tallahassee. Board members, I know that all of you have received email. I have as well, from parents concerned about potentially a 50% reduction in the add-on FTE that helps fund our AP, Cambridge, IB programs. I know there's a lot of work going on statewide to help people understand the impact of that. The impact for Manatee County is a loss of about $2.3 million. Additionally, I know that we're all watching both the Senate and House budget proposals. At last look, the House was proposing an increase in the base student allocation of $50.51 per student. That is equivalent to a 0.95%, less than 1% increase in funding from which to fund employee compensation improvements next year, and also absorb all of the cost increases that we're experiencing across the district. The Senate proposal slightly better at $66 a student. But again, to put all those numbers in comparison, if you take the House increase at $50 a student, and then you look at the impact to the 50% reduction, we're actually at a net loss at that point. So it's a tough session, and again, board members appreciate all the work that you're doing to advocate for our students, our staff, and our schools in Tallahassee. Thank you.
Thank you. Board comments. We'll start with Ms. Felton, then go Kennedy, Tatum, Sperry, Choate.
Okay, so as Dr. Weissong alluded to, I've spent most of the last 3 weeks in Tallahassee. I was there all of our spring break for new board member academy training. Learned lots of additional new stuff as I am getting my legs under me. I think I'm doing pretty well now. I got how things are working. Spent a considerable amount of time with Ms. Sellers going over the ACFR and making sure I understand everything that's in there. I think I did pretty well with that one. Lots of notes and highlights. And then also meeting with legislators. There were 4 of us that went up for the Days of the Legislature. I'm sure my colleagues will speak to their own experiences. It was my first time visiting the Capitol. I now know my way around the building really well. Buildings, I guess I should say, really well. And it was really interesting to be able to sit in on committees and see the House working the floor as well. I've made some good connections with different legislators, not only from our district, but from others as well. That was spring break. Then this past week, Ms. Spray and I were up there again for the Greater Florida Consortium. Personally, I spoke with a dozen legislators about the funding cuts for our AP, IB, ACE, and career and tech programs. Ms. Spray will talk about her own experiences, I'm sure, as well. We both worked very hard at this. This was definitely a good effort on, I think, for both of us, that we worked really hard. We split the difference, went all over the buildings, trying to get different people. And there were sympathetic ears. There was also a proverbial pat on the head of, this is right sizing, and you're not going to lose any funds, although the math that they're telling me doesn't actually math. Some of it was frustrating, of course, but all in all, I think we had some good conversations up there with our legislators, and they do understand the importance of these college and career programs if they want us to be able to get our kids to the next level and to be able to make sure that they have some place to go once they graduate from high school. This is incredibly important to me, having taught high school and having my own kid go through college and career programs as well. In other stuff, I have now visited almost every single one of these schools in District 1. I visit Williams next week, and that'll top them off. I've already talked about STEM Showcase. I was one of the staff people who got to go see Shrek the Musical at Parrish Community High School. I went to the matinee on Sunday, their final performance, and props to every single kid and volunteer and parent and all the staff who worked on that production. They had a live orchestra, set changes. I mean, it was phenomenal. And as a former theater kid, it was really great. I really loved it. And special props to the young person who played Donkey. You did Eddie Murphy proud. She was terrific. I also enjoyed Project Teach. And as a last thing, I want to put a plug in for Soarin' 4 is doing an event this coming weekend at Tom Bennett Park, including a 5K. So I challenge my other board members to put on your tennis shoes and come walk with me. Okay, I'm getting a lot of
It's already on my calendar.
Okay, at least
luck.
Charlie will
Have
be
fun.
there. So come walk with me. It's get some exercise, get outside, and support our Soarin' 4 programs. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Kennedy.
Is that next? Yeah. Heather, it's already on my calendar, and it's Soarin' 4. There's a lot of things going on that morning. The 5K starts at 8 a.m.
Yep.
And then, but everyone as well, families, siblings, the general public, it's being put on by Manatee County government.
Yeah.
We did a series of 3 5Ks. I believe this is the last one. Thank God, because it's starting to get really hot. But yeah, and Soarin' 4 has a presence there. They'll be providing some services and fun and games, and so yeah, I will definitely see you there.
Storybook Trail.
Exactly. Thank
The
you.
Storybook
Thank
Trail.
you.
Yeah.
So on a what I feel, I'm only speaking for myself here. On a less, I'm a little troubled, to say the least, by some of the things moving through the legislative session, and I appreciate the 4 of you all going up to do your part. I don't even know where to begin with concerning the financial cuts the superintendent just made us aware of. There is the school start time thing, I've put that aside because this stuff I believe is really much more pressing. But the cutting of funding for advanced coursework, AP, ACE, IB, I'm not really sure what the thought process is there. It's a very small investment that creates enormous returns. We got an email from a parent last Friday. Board members, I'm sure you've already seen it, but I would suggest just going back to take a look, because I think this parent is onto something that's very smart. And she framed this around the issue of advanced coursework funding being cut. But she shared with us that Sarasota County, or at least Sarasota High School, provided information to their parents, to the parents of their students who are in advanced coursework, to help them advocate. I know the school district can't do advocacy with public funds, but we can provide information. And so I thought that was a really interesting strategy for Sarasota High, at least, to provide information to their parents about, hey, we just want to make sure you're aware that this is happening in Tallahassee, because the vast majority of Floridians are not really aware of what's happening during session. And I get it, not a lot makes it through session. Something like 5% of bills actually make it to the finish line. But I thought that was a really interesting way to get our parents and our school communities involved in, hey, you might not be aware of this, and if you have feelings on this issue, maybe let your legislator know. So
I believe, wasn't that the Sarasota County, the district did that?
That's what I mean. They can provide information.
Yeah, of what the actual funding was, what they received, things like that. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So I thought that was just a really, we did that for the 1 Mil campaign multiple times, where we're only providing information to the public so they can make an informed decision about whether they want to vote the 1 Mil up or down. And I think the same principle would apply here. This is just discussion at the beginning. I'm not suggesting we run out and do anything this afternoon or next week, but that could be a really effective strategy, because I'm a little pessimistic about what legislators. I think they tend to do what they're told to do from senior members of the legislature. They're not really connected to school boards unless a legislator was actually a school board member before. So I think Heather, you put it well. We get pats on the head and thanks for coming up and blah, blah, blah. And then they just go back to doing what they're told to do by their superiors. So, but maybe with pressure coming from the public, from parents, that might move some votes. Also related to us is there is I can't see this passing, but it's out there, loosening the rules around children's work hours on school nights.
Yes.
So obviously with the immigration environment we're in, we've had some shifting of people who have left the state. And so the legislature, it looks, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but it appears that they're going to fill that labor shortage with 14 and 15-year-olds working on school nights. So, maybe parents may not even be aware of that. And so if we could inform them of, some of these hot button issues that are directly affecting our kids, that might be a way to drive some phone calls and mail to offices in Tallahassee. So I will step off my soapbox. I'll finish with more positive stuff. So thanks for indulging me for a minute. First, I want to thank Omar Edwards, who was here at the start of the meeting. He did a great job at the stream presentation. Yes. He represented the school district at the stream meeting at Southeast High last week. Omar took him to church. He was very impressive and really represented the district very well during that. I want to thank the MSTV team. That was a really nice piece to start the board meeting with on the kids making pickles. And last time I saw Sky Grundy, she was dropping off earth boxes to me at school so our kids could grow vegetables there. And so it's good to see Sky, and I'm glad she's still engaged in that very meaningful work with our kids. And then finally, Take Stock in Children celebrated their 30th birthday, I think it was. They threw an event at MSA last weekend. I took my mentee. They had a really great turnout. It was a really nice event. And so congratulations to Take Stock. I forget the exact number. It was around something like 400 kids have received a Take Stock scholarship, which, Take Stock, if you're not aware, it's a statewide program. It started in Pinellas a long time ago, but it's a statewide. Every county has one, but the kids have to apply as early as 6th grade, and kids who have faced more ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. So you're taking kids who are performing really well academically, but have faced some challenges in their life up to that point, and gets them onto postgraduate work, whether it's college or MTC or whatever that student chooses to do. So I'm really proud to be a mentor and be proud of the organization. And my mentee Riley is only in 6th grade, but he's already got plans for his postgraduate work, post high school work, I should say. So that's let me just check my notes. I think that was it for me. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks, Chad. Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Ms. Chater?
Okay, so let's start off with a little safety here. It's kind of an odd one. However, it is something we need to be thinking about here as the weather gets warmer. So let me read this headline. This is from Tampa. Florida woman fights off alligator to save her dog during evening walk. Right? So it's getting warmer and heating up, and they're out and about. I've seen them riding my bike and walking around, and don't be trolling for alligators. You know, if you're going to go out with your dog in the evening, just be careful. And this happens, unfortunately, once a year. Sometimes people lose their life. So the alligators are the creatures. The time is warming up. Summer is coming. They're going to be out and about. Please pay attention, especially in the evenings. Every body of water should be assumed to have an alligator in it. So just be careful for you and your dogs and your kids. All right, on to more positive stuff. Let's see. I, too, went to Shrek. And I, too, it was great overall. I mean, if you really watched, there were ballet dancers, right? You could see there were ballet dancers in there. The logistics of the whole thing, from a military guy to watch that whole operation happen. I know I did one. I was in a musical when I was in high school. We had to actually hire an outside director and bring in a lot of people from the outside, but most of what they did was right there in the school. As you mentioned, Ms. Felton, the orchestra, I asked the theater director, I think they had like 28 members of the orchestra. There were a couple college students, a couple teachers, but 20 of the members of the orchestra were students. It was very well coordinated, and I too thought the lady who played the donkey was spot on. I mean, I even went up to her afterwards and I said, like, you hit it, you nailed it, right? If you've seen the movie Shrek, she did her movements and everything. It was just, apparently she has like a full ride scholarship to go to an acting school or something like that. So good for her. Might look for her in the future on, America's Got Talent or something like that. But it was just really good, and it's good to see that the arts are moving forward. All right, and then I went to the elementary music event. Well, that was at Braden River High School, I think, last week, and I think we did a high school one, we did a middle school one, and then now we did an elementary one, and that was really good too. Being somewhat of a drummer myself, there were a lot of percussions there, and I wanted to highlight the elementary music student teachers who, that must be hurting cats more than, when they get to middle school or high school, it's a little easier, but keeping all these kids focused, 100 kids, elementary kids, keep them focused and get them to do what they did. That was really impressive, and yeah, it was a good show overall. And let's see, the Lakewood Ranch High School JROTC team won their state orienteering team competition. And so orienteering is a sport that involves navigating through unfamiliar terrain using a map and compass to locate a series of checkpoints. I won't go on, but basically they won. So good for them, and so maybe we could get them up here and congratulate them since they are the state champs. And finally, I wanted to highlight an employee that I met, let's see, last week. I was over in transportation, and I'm going to set up a bus ride. I'm going to take a bus ride and see what that's all about. Anyway, I walked up to the receptionist lady there, and we started talking. I wanted to get to know her a little bit, and I said, "Ma'am, how long have you been working?" Joe, what's the lady's? Do you know the lady's name who works in the reception at the transportation area there? Okay, I meant to get her name before the meeting, but anyway, special employee. Here's why she's special. So I said, we just got to talking. How long have you been working for the school system? She said, 31 years. And I said, well, how long have you been in this job? And she said, I've been here about a year. And I said, so you did something else for 30 years. What did you do for 30 years? She said, I drove a bus for 30 years. And that's all she'd done during that whole 30 years. And I thought, that was as long as I've been in the Air Force, right? Like, for 30 years, she every day went out there, got those kids safely to school, brought them home from school, probably didn't have bus aids. When did we put bus aids on the buses?
Probably maybe half of her career.
Yeah, so half of her career was without bus aids, and I just thought, that's a really dedicated employee, especially they come and they go, you know, all the time. And this lady did it for 30 years. So congratulations to her. I need to go give her a coin. I'm going to do that. That was really special. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Ms. Gray?
Tallahassee, whew, a lot of walking, from hotel to Capitol building to, I think I went to the FSBA building once because I thought my time was better served talking to legislators, and it was. And I think that talking to our legislators, both here and up there, and those that are not in our district but have common ground on all of the bills that are moving so quickly back and forth between House and Senate and all of that. I will say that one story that I shared with every legislator I was able to talk to, and lobbyists, ours and other lobbyists, was about the 50% reduction for the academics. I shared a story about the student that you and I spoke to that drives from Lakewood Ranch to Palmetto to be an ACE program. She consciously made that decision on her own, I'm sure through her parents as well, just so she could go and experience that program. So I said, this is a student that drives 45 minutes one way to go through this program. You're telling me you're gonna cut that program? Yeah, and I shared that many times. It was probably, I should have just recorded it and played it on my phone. So even the lobbyists that I spoke with after hours that I would run into at restaurants, I'd say, hey, let me tell you this story. You know, understand, this is what we're talking about, the magnitude of that decision. So just want to say that. I think it was very beneficial to be up there with the Greater School Consortium. We had several legislators come in there, and we were able to talk to them as well, and even Commissioner Diaz came in. So we were able to, and I actually have a follow-up with him that I want to talk to you about on some of the things that weren't talked about on bills, but I'll get with the rest of the board on after I get some more clarity on that. So that was really good that he took the time to stop by and talk to us. There was a whole room full of us, you know, and we always drive home the magnitude of that consortium of how many students it represents. You know, 51% of the finance and student base comes from all of those districts. One thing I did want to ask was Mr. Rinaldi, you talked about the fingerprinting is going on and all of that, and we did contract a new system for that. Am I correct? And am I remembering it? Because by law, we have to re-fingerprint everybody every 5 years. Right, every 5 years. So we did this big contract with someone or a company. I understood there was mobile units for that as well. Am I correct?
Well, what we did is it turned out our existing vendor is able to accommodate the new requirements, kind of a belt and suspenders. We had contracted with another group where we anticipated actually fingerprinting over 3,000 people. But when the state actually rolled it out, it was reduced significantly, and we were able to get a significant number of those people into the system prior to the date on the 7th. So now we're using our field print that we've used in the past, and we're going to be able to do some internal fingerprinting here at the SSC as well. So we did not have to go to the extent that we were originally thinking once the
Because it was a
state
considerable
clarified.
amount of money.
Oh, yes. Once
Right.
the state clarified what actually needed to be done,
So that-
it reduced the load to close to a third of what we were anticipating.
Oh, that's good.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because that was a hard pill to swallow for me. So knowing that we got a lot of that done ahead of the statutes or whatever came out from Tallahassee, then I'm glad that we're doing that. And as far as the public commenters that were here, we do have a workshop scheduled for the 2nd to discuss some of these. I think Mr. Kennedy had asked to put this on a workshop, that it was worthy of having a workshop. So I will say to everyone to have an open mind about that workshop and to listen to all sides. It isn't just a cut and dry thing. In my district alone, I have 3,900 students that go to charter schools. And to me, a student is a student. We have to provide a seat to any student that comes to our district, whether they're in our public, private, or charter. It's still someone that is seeking education. So I just want you to remember that. We're in a school choice environment. If we have students on wait lists at charter schools, why is that? Why are they going to them because they're offering a different program? Or are they going to them because we're not doing something right? So I would hope that they might have a program that we don't offer. That would be the positive side. I don't want students to leave our district schools. We have so many good things that goes on in our district. Just like the student that drives from Lakewood Ranch every day. That's one. So I just want everyone to come in with good thoughts and come up with some kind of a solution that I don't think that we're doing anything nefarious about this tax, but I want to listen to the whole story behind it all. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll keep it kind of short and sweet. You guys kind of said everything about Tallahassee. That was good to get up there and see those folks. I want to say a thank you to Shannon Fleming at Manatee.
Yeah.
I don't know if my mom wants me to say this, but her class was their 40-year reunion. And so they did a tour of the school and stuff. So I want to thank her for doing that for them. Prom is this weekend. So my safety tip to all the prom goers and everybody out there, just be safe. It is my daughter's senior prom. So, yeah, we've been in the dress mode.
Oh my God, and I noticed your tie, by the way.
And then I want to wish my daughter and Manatee and all the girls across is districts this week. Starts districts and then moving into playoffs. So, so that'll be good. Staff, thank you very much.
Yep.
Putting everything together for the meeting. I know we get up here and we say yes and move on. You guys put in all the work and all that to get this going. I know we got a workshop. Before I adjourn this stuff, I know we got a workshop after this. I'm going to do a 30-minute break for lunch. We good with that?
Am I right? That's a gator tie?
That is the gator tie.
I want to point that out.
National champion. You didn't know, national champion.
Yeah, national champion.
You can zoom in on that if you want to. No.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go 30-minute break. Let's just say 1 o'clock.
I do have a request for you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. If possible, since Mr. Daniel is here, could we actually adjourn this, open the workshop, do the audit committee update, and then break for lunch?
Oh, sure,
Instead of
yeah,
making
because
him sit
that's the
here?
only thing we're. Yes, that's the only thing, and then it's staff from there. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank
Yeah.
you. It was just.
Let's go 5-minute recess though for bathroom.
Right, a
and all.
5-minute.
Sure,
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll go 12:30. We'll come back, open it.
Good-
Yeah.
good
Nope.
idea.
Good idea.
Perfect.
Good idea.
Good
Thank you.
idea, Charlie.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you for the meeting. We are adjourned. Yes, we'll go.